Welcome to day 8 of Inktober Tangles 2025. Today we are drawing Tangling Cochombrós by Tania Ferriol Jover. And since yesterday I have looked this tangler up, this certified Zentangle teacher who appears to be in Mallorca, which is a Spanish island. So this is a lovely one. I've done it previously and I've kind of messed it up. I don't know why, but we'll kind of go through it today and just kind of take it step by step. It really is quite a simple tangle to do. So we start this one with some lines, intersecting lines. So I've not done this perfectly. You can see I've got some, there's going to be 6 points once we've created these intersections. I don't think it matters greatly in the grand scheme of things, but you do start with these 6 lines. It's basically 3 full lines that cross over one another. And the next step is to basically top these off with some points, which I'm going to try and make as even as I can so that they're roughly the same size all the way around. Now this, because I'm creating this on a bijou tile, I might not be able to fit the full Cochombrós shape in, but we'll see how we go. So once we've got all these pointy bits on the outside, it's sort of like a basic sunflower. Where did I get sunflower from? Snowflake. What we're going to do is to extend the line of the left-hand side of each of these points. You don't actually have to retrace that first bit. You're just extending this out all the way around, and as you can see I'm rotating my tile as I go because that just makes it more comfortable and easier for me to do. And we are then going to, these lines here that we've just created, we're going to come out from the top of this diamond shape and we're going to parallel this line, and we're going to do that all the way around. This is where I start to get confused though, so just bear with me as I figure this out. Yes, okay, so we're going to parallel this line all the way around. So this is our new top point, so it's paralleling this one. Paralleling this one, and this one, because this shape down here, I think this was maybe the, no it's not, that's the wider shape, but this shape is at a bit of a different angle, so it's maybe not quite the right angle for the line, but I'm just going to parallel it anyway. And so we've come all the way around to the end of that tangle, and then we're now going to join these triangles to be triangles. So you see where this line is here, that basically follows that line around, and then this is going to be a triangle, technically should follow this line. That's why I've kind of messed up before, because I've not quite got the shapes here perfectly lined up, but there are no mistakes. So I'm just turning my tile and completing any of these lines where I see them. I think that's that. I am just going to complete these lines as if they're hiding off the page. I don't think that that's the way it was in the original Step Out from Tania, but I'm going to do that anyway. And from here, the world is your oyster. That is almost like, to me, it's more of a string rather than a tangle. So you could use this to put different shapes inside of it. So I am now going to do some parallel lines on either side of these longer sections. Basically, we're going to aura the lines here. It's funny how I always seem to mess this tangle up because it is such a simple tangle, but I've done it a few times and just not quite got my angles right. But if you have a tangle like that, just take your time with it. You know, there's no pressure to have anything perfect. There's nothing perfect in Zentangle. It's just about taking the time to enjoy the moment that you've created for yourself. And I always think to myself, if I've enjoyed spending time tangling, it doesn't really matter what I've created at the end, if it's kind of just brought me some relaxation and some peace. And most of the time, I have actually created something that I'm proud of. Most tangles that I create are really satisfying to draw, including this one. It's just that I don't quite get it as neat as I would like to. But you can see just that I'm auraing the insides of that original snowflake shape. I'm not going to do anything overly fancy or complicated with these Inktober Tangles videos, just because I'm trying to keep them short and sweet. So all I'm doing is trying to smoosh, technical term, smoosh. Just imagining that I've got some orbs smooshed into each of those diamond shapes. I think this is going to look really, really cool once it's shaded as well. So I'd be interested to know actually if you have ever done Inktober Tangles before. Have you ever heard of Zentangle before? Let me know in the comments. It's just always good to know, like, if people who are coming across my channel, if they're complete newbies or if they're other Zentangle teachers or tanglers. But the lovely thing about the Zentangle method is that you could approach this as a 100% beginner. You haven't picked up a pen since high school, and you sit down to tangle and you just find that you love it. That is what I love about the Zentangle method. There's zero artistic experience required for this. So now, in these original long lines, or kind of ribbons, I'm just putting some zigzaggy shapes. You could fill these individual triangles in quite a few different ways. You could create smaller triangles, like just triangles that are getting smaller and smaller, and you just leave them as the lines, or you could ink the smallest of the triangles in. What I'm just going to do here is to put little dots in here, and as per usual, just do whatever you would like on your own tile. And also I should say, in case I haven't mentioned it before, you don't need to work on these paper tiles. You could work on a page in a sketchbook, or if you've got any watercolour paper, you could work on another tile in a different size or a different colour. There's no real guideline, it's just whatever that you have at home. So these 6 triangles around the outside, I'm going to just draw almost as if it's like a half of a rice shape. And to do that, and then ink in the centre space. This one here, we've got the initial part of that cut off, as if it's just disappearing off the edge of the tile. It's so nice to be able to film a video without the camera telling me I've not got enough memory. That happened last week when I was trying to film these videos in bulk, basically, and my iPhone was full. I just realised I've put in an orb in the centre of that one, but I want to keep these the same all the way around. Yeah, my iPhone kept telling me during recording you don't have enough memory, and it was cutting off the recording, which was very frustrating because I'd have to start all over again. I'm going to go in either side of these aura lines that we've created here. Okay, and then I'm coming in with my blending stump just to smooth these pencil lines out, not dragging the pencil all the way into the centre, because I'm planning to go into the centre with my pastel pencil. Oops, it's off camera slightly, I'm so sorry. So yeah, you may not have a pastel pencil at home, but you can still achieve the look of the highlighting in the centre just by having the graphite shaded out either side. That adds so much dimension to your tile, it's really amazing. In these different orbs in here, I'm going to just roughly in the same area of each one, I'm adding like a kind of smiley face and just smoothing those smiley faces out with my blending stump. And then when it comes to these individual triangles, I am just adding a small amount of graphite just at the tips. Some of these triangles are a lot smaller than the others, but but we're just wanting to add a hint of dimension. Just means that the work that we have at the end, the artwork that we have, isn't quite so flat. There's a lot of people out there who tangle and don't shade, and just do whatever you feel comfortable with. If you don't feel like you want to shade, don't worry about shading. I just think it just adds a whole new level to your tangling, but it's not for everybody, and I appreciate that. What I want to do now is to, actually I'm going to add some pencil first, before pastel pencil, before I add any gel pen. So I'm just in the opposite side from where those pencils were on these orbs, just adding a bit of contrast with the white pastel pencil, and then blending that in. And I'm going to put a line roughly in the centre of each of these bits. It never fails to amaze me how much these like kind of just take on much more dimension just with the shading and highlighting. These tools, you know, they're fairly inexpensive as well. It's not like the pencil that you get from Zentangle. If you get an official Zentangle kit, I believe that that's just HB pencils. I don't think it's like, you know, art, like you get the B and H's and all that kind of thing. I don't think it's an artist pencil. It's just a standard pencil that you may find in a child's pencil case for school. So I'm going in here now with the white jelly roll. Just adding a little bit of contrast. And what you might find with the jelly roll, if you're brand new to using jelly rolls, you might be a bit surprised to find that you hardly touch the page at all. If you lean heavily with a jelly roll pen, you're almost guaranteed to get no ink coming out. So just be as gentle as you can. You're barely touching the surface of that paper at all. As light as you can. And you sometimes have to go over the jelly roll with the jelly roll a couple of times just to kind of get an even coating. But you want to just be aware that the jelly roll, if you're going back over it, just the kind of ink that it is, if you don't go back over it straight away, it might have been starting to dry and you can actually end up having the ink pull a bit and go a bit scratchy looking. So if you want to go back over with another coat, then I would suggest that you leave the ink to dry. It doesn't take a lot of time, but I would leave the ink to dry and then go back over the top of it. You can see here as well that I'm going into the outsides of these diamond shapes. And I always feel like I hurry my videos, and I shouldn't really do that, because I'm always saying it's not a race, it's not a race, and I always get people commenting saying how they love that I don't hurry through things, and oops, sorry, just knocked the camera. So yeah, it's not a race, and people say that they like hearing what I've been up to and hearing my stories and whatnot. So yeah, but all the same, just wanting to remind you, just take your time when you're doing this at home. I'm considerably slower when I tangle for myself, so to speak, at home off camera. So I'm almost there, but I'm going to go back over some of these lines again just to make them pop a wee bit more. It's funny, when I looked at this tile, tangle, before I actually started filming the video, I thought, oh, this will be a quick one because there's not a lot to it. But then once I'd tangled it, I was like, oh, I want to actually fill it in. So by the time that I've completed the Cochombrós string, I know it is a tangle, but by the time that I'd put that initial shape down and then I started adding my fillers, it's taken a little bit more time than I thought it might. But that's fine. And you can always, if I'm going too fast, you can pause the YouTube video, or if I'm going too slowly, no, you can fast forward. I will never be offended by that. Different people have different speeds. Just do what feels right for you. And I'm going to just restate these original lines. You don't need to go over every single line that you have previously created, but just if you see any places that look a bit like they need a bit more focus, attention rather, just go for it. And I'm just going to add a little bit of pastel pencil into these areas here. And even something as simple as that just makes everything so interesting. Just brightens everything up. So that is Cochombrós. I never know how, I mean, I speak a teeny amount of Spanish. I understand more than I can speak. But yeah, I know that when you have an accent on a word, that's where the emphasis falls. So if you look at it here, the accent should be on the bros, but then it's hard for me to say Cochombrós. So apologies, Tania, if I am pronouncing this incorrectly. So tomorrow we are going to be doing Lilife, I think is how you pronounce this, by Barbara Steyer, who is another certified Zentangle teacher. I really enjoyed doing this one. Really, really lovely tangle to do. So join me tomorrow for day 9. Do subscribe as well if you don't want to miss any of the videos that I'm sharing for Inktober Tangles 25. And then it just means, you know, you'll always get all the notifications. You won't have to miss out on anything. And the link for this booklet that was pulled together by Stephanie Jennifer will be in my description for my video. You can download this for yourself entirely for free. And I've got another video which tells you all about the concept behind Inktober Tangles 2025 and the reason that we actually do the challenge. So thank you so much for joining in today. I'm just going to quickly show you Cochombrós here. Now, you can see I've put different fillers in this one. This is actually a tangle that's coming up in Inktober Tangles. Very, very cute. I love this. And then I've put some different, this is like the rice shapes that I created today. Here, you can see it's the same shape, but in the centre. And I think I did Cochombro somewhere else, did I? Oh yes, it's in here. So I've done orbs again in the centre for this one, but I've kind of got a few orbs, and then I've just gone for some simple parallel lines on the edges of that one. So this is a great, really fun tangle to do, and once you have it complete, then you can just fill it with whatever fillers that you would like to, really. It's just whatever you would like to do. So yeah, join me again tomorrow for day 9 for Life. And like the video if you've enjoyed it, please. It'd be really, really appreciated. So thank you so much for joining along, and I'll see you soon. Bye.